This is the Grand Seiko SBGX091, and as you can tell by the ticking seconds hands, this is a quartz watch. Can you believe it? I think something happens when people get into watches, which is they shun quartz, they go mechanical, understandably, and then some of us come back around to some of the finer quartz watches, and Grand Seiko, along with perhaps Citizen, is maybe the finest maker of quartz watches. This SBGX091 is in a 38.8 39mm case, 11mm thick. It's got a nice, both sporty and dressy look, lume at 12, 3, 6, and 9, and on the hands. And speaking of the hands, mirrored polished, beveled edges, not folded hands like a lot of watches, but actually quite heavy hands for a quartz watch. Screw down crown, and water resistant to 100 meters, which is kind of rare for Grand Seiko, which generally makes dressier watches. And I want to show you this red GS logo at 6 o'clock. Unfortunately, Grand Seiko is replacing this reference with a almost exactly the same reference look, but with Grand Seiko at 12, and they're removing the red GS at 6 o'clock. And that reference is the SBGX091. Everything's the same except for the dial. Maybe my favorite part of this watch is not the case back, which has this great Grand Seiko line, but what's inside, which is the 9F movement, specifically the 9F61, which is gorgeously finished for a quartz watch. Who's going to see this? Very few people, and yet they went through the effort. The 9F61 movement is a high accuracy quartz movement, which means it's thermocompensated, and it's accurate, in this case, to 10 seconds a year. Most quartz watches are accurate to 15 seconds a month, but this is 10 seconds a year. And that dial, you can't tell with the naked eye, but it actually has a very fine guilloche pattern, a circular ridged pattern, as you can see in this macro shot. Beautiful attention to detail, those hands, the markers, the red GS. And what that very fine guilloche does is gives the dial this sheen that allows it to basically transform in different lights. Sometimes it's cream, looks cream, sometimes it's silvery, sometimes it's white. I don't know, not many brands do dials like Grand Seiko, and Seiko in general does amazing dials. We have this great signed deployant clasp, which is really comfortable, and substantial feeling. The watch feels quite heavy, which is kind of nice for a quartz watch. It has these angular turn down lugs, which result in it being extremely comfortable. And I think it's quite versatile. There's a black dial version, the SBGX093, with a black dial and a white chapter ring and brushed hands, but I like this gray silver dial. This is actually only the second Grand Seiko I've seen in person, and it's such an impressive brand. And that is the SBGX091 Grand Seiko High Accuracy Quartz Watch. Thanks for watching. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments.